This is Anita. She is the managing director of a big manufacturing hub in India. She is gaining clients from all over the globe and increasingly from Germany. With better relations and access to foreign markets, it looks like the company is poised for major growth in the coming years. Anita knows that scaling up is no mean task. She is managing long, complex supply chains, ensuring materials and resources are coming in on time, maintaining smooth manufacturing lines, focusing on quality control to meet international standards, and so much more. Her commitment to these details is the reason behind the success of her company. But as she has an eye on all these checks and balances, she must be careful not to forget about the suppliers and contractors that are fueling the growth of her company too. These vendors may be meeting business standards, but are they meeting human rights standards? Turns out, one of the company's suppliers was relying on underage and underpaid labor. The contractor was being dishonest with his workers and not giving them their fair wages. This situation ultimately led to unrest and strikes. Anita was taken completely by surprise. Her operations was left vulnerable as her supply chain was affected. The consequences of overlooking the responsibility of human rights violations in her supply chain were dire. From labor strikes to factory closure, termination of large contracts, large government fines, and loss of reputation from the community. Anita found herself hunting for new suppliers on tight timelines, justifying the position to stakeholders, and ultimately, her customers saw the unrest on the news and slowly many of them started buying from her competitor. What could have been a thriving business has now collapsed. But this is not Anita's story. Thankfully, Anita had needed no convincing to implement the measures specified in the Act for Corporate Human Rights Due Diligence (HRDD) in the supply chains. Anita had ensured that her company's operations adhered to the following core elements of the Act: adoption of the Human Rights Policy Statement, establishment of human rights risk management, adoption of measures to address human rights risks, taking remedial actions for human rights violations, setting up internal complaints procedure, implementing due diligence at indirect suppliers, documenting and reporting on due diligence activities. This allowed Anita to preemptively identify, assess and remedy violations of human rights in her supply chain. It helped her keep bad factors out, protect good relations with the community, and safeguard her company. Our commitment to human rights must also grow and evolve as we do. It is important to recognize that focusing on HRDD will always bring about sustainable and long-lasting growth, not only to business, but also to the communities they serve. Growing with responsibility benefits everyone.